Okay. Everyone good on the
Yeah, just make it full screen.
okay. So I appreciate the flexibility to move a little bit beyond the use of investing guidelines. So I tried to get us to better understand Amazon and its business model and how it's valued. And my big conclusion is that it's difficult to measure what you do not understand, which is another way of saying I think Amazon is significantly undervalued. So Chamath is a Silicon Valley investor. He led growth, was the first growth lead at Facebook, and he took them from 50 million users to over 1 billion. And according to him, Amazon is a multi-trillion-dollar monopoly hiding in plain sight. So quick look at Amazon's stock price over time. As we know, Amazon started as an online book distributor. It has matured and taken different forms, but it's now a gigantic corporation. Snapshot: last year, Amazon did almost $128 billion in sales. Their sales growth between Q3 2014 and Q3 2016 it is substantial, from 21% to 28%. The profit margins on its sales between 2011 and 2013, and Prime orders, which I'll get into, but is an important part of Amazon's business model. Basically, the Prime customers have a propensity to order far more. So their lifetime value is significantly higher, and Prime customers purchases are up 266% year over year. So the valuation, as of today, the stock price is 773. The 52-week range is 474 to 847. I put the target price at 960. The market cap is 367 billion. PE ratio is 177. Revenue is nearly 128 billion. EBITDA is nearly 11 billion. The interesting thing here is EV of revenue, which is pushing up against 3, but EV over EBITDA is a much higher ratio, which leads me to believe that there's significant cash flow. So the opportunity, as I see it, is that although Amazon is a large cap company, it's significantly underpriced. I'll get into the conclusion, which is very simple, but I think important. Amazon is generally known as a e-commerce company, but in reality, it's a diversified company that uses technology to enable other verticals, and this sort of ethos of experimentation is led by Jeff Bezos, who we all know. Bezos is is what I would think of as a visionary, and starting with Amazon's first letter to shareholders after it IPO'd. Bezos sort of very clearly laid out that Amazon would be a company of experiments. Because it's been broken out, its success has been broken out or laid out by Bezos. Likely the most well-known experiment that turned into a substantial business line is Amazon Web Services, which is now a $10 billion a year business line. So they try many things, and some of them end up being very, very successful. Not moderately successful, very successful. So they either fail or they really take off. So I think the opportunity statement, as I see it, is that the market currently values Amazon as an e-commerce company, and I think that the delta between how I see Amazon and how the market sees Amazon is a delta in understanding how these different lines of business are coalescing around a business model that was built for scale. I think this is a really interesting visual, which was Bezos's original model for Amazon as it sold books and eventually other merchandise. And the idea was to create this flywheel effect that that the more customer growth you could create, the lower price point you would allow, the better customer experience, which would then fold into itself and nurture its own momentum, which is its e-commerce flywheel. Now, that's interesting because it's not relegated to e-commerce. I think this model, this flywheel ecosystem, is being applied to different different verticals that are proving to be really successful for Amazon. The catalyst, I sort of broke this down into two categories that I think are most important for Amazon, and I called them the moat of infrastructure and data. I had a hard time thinking about comps with Amazon because I don't think there is a comp, actually. Some of the analyst reports that I looked at in the same list of comps had Netflix and Costco, and I think that's pretty telling. But basically, the idea is that massive scale, even with significant investment, is its own moat, and Amazon has built that scale through infrastructure. We went to a distribution center. Now there are many distribution centers, and those physical distribution centers, that physical infrastructure is being met with the digital infrastructure that is significant and and a long-term competitive advantage. And the second catalyst is data. So to compare Amazon and the data collection mechanism that Amazon has built with other technology companies like Facebook, is really to compare apples and oranges, because a few other technology companies capture real-time purchasing function, how people buy goods. Facebook is another gigantic company, but their data is not directly correlated to individual making purchasing decisions. So Amazon's data is very, very rich, and allows them to do a lot of predictive modeling, so that they are getting the goods that we are most likely to purchase in front of us in a seamless way. So I outlined 3 growth areas here. These are well known, but I think the numbers are pretty important. And then I outlined sort of a vertical of others that I think are less well known, but as or potentially more important. So AWS, as you mentioned, it's been around for 10 years, and it's already a $10 billion a year revenue generator for Amazon. And as importantly as the numbers, it's the origin of AWS, which was that Amazon realized that it had a choke point in computing power around the holidays. So naturally, they have a surge of orders around this time every year, and they needed to build digital infrastructure to support that. Once they did, they were subutilizing that infrastructure for 11 months a year or 10 months a year. And so they were able to farm out that digital infrastructure, and which substantially lowered the cost for other businesses that were having to build out their own independent infrastructure. Amazon Prime launched 11 years ago, now has 31 million paying customers at $100 a year. That's growing by 50% recently. The idea is that they can bundle the benefits of Prime membership, which gets back into the flywheel effect. Amazon Marketplace, I think, is a really interesting component of the Amazon ecosystem. And basically, this is third-party sellers who are able to use Amazon's infrastructure to connect more seamlessly with customers. So 50% of total units sold on Amazon go through this third-party marketplace. 70,000 entrepreneurs have sold more than $100,000 worth of goods in a given year. There's some jobs component, but more interestingly to me is that is the global nature of Amazon. So I think Amazon often gets a sort of rap of being an American and European focused product or platform, and it's basically non-existent in China. But Marketplace shows that it does in fact have global scale. And as part of Marketplace, what Amazon does is it advances loans to hobbyists, small business people, and so they've extended excuse me, a billion five in loans, to include $400 million dollars, which are outstanding. Perhaps most importantly is what I've called big bets with traction. Artificial intelligence is a very deep, poorly understood area of technology, and today Amazon is very clearly the leader in AI amongst the big tech companies. In fact, it was announced today that the Amazon Echo, which is one of their AI devices, would be installed in every hotel room at the Wynn Las Vegas. So 4,700 plus hotel rooms will have an Amazon artificial intelligence device in the room, and the Wynn executive was quoted as talking about the importance of an overall experience, and so Echo could do things like you ask Alexa, who's the personality of the artificial intelligence, what the weather will be like, and without pushing a button, you just sort of speak to the device, and it responds with real-time accurate information. Amazon has also made a big investment in video games and music, and they've not only have they offered the service, they've also done it well. Last year, they won more awards than Netflix, whose sole purpose is content generation. Kindle and content, I think, is something that Amazon has been doing for a while. So it's not as valued, as highly valued as a service line, but an analyst, JP Morgan, had estimated, it's not broken out, but had estimated Kindle sales to include hardware and content sales to be $5.5 billion in 2015. Really interesting is Amazon Air, which is their autonomous vehicle or drone delivery system. Also announced today is that they've just completed their first fully autonomous drone delivery. It happened in the UK, and the idea is that they can deliver any product under a certain weight to a customer within 30 minutes. This is a big deal for a few reasons. Perhaps one reason is that if we go back to the flywheel, the idea is that Amazon, through Amazon Air, will be able to deliver a wide range of products in the shortest amount of time. For business purposes, that cuts out the last mile delivery challenge, which is a very high cost function. So imagine if Amazon did not have to pay FedEx and UPS and USPS for last mile delivery, but we're able to to use autonomous vehicles, drones, self-driving cars, etc., to bring that last mile in-house. It would be a substantial cost reduction while also increasing the flywheel mechanism. So my conclusion is buy as much as you can and hold it for as long as you can. Amazon is not a short-term play, but I believe that it is substantially undervalued, and for a long-term investment, it's as good as you can find in the technology industry.
Now, Brendan, I got a question for you. I don't know if this is a fair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
It sounds like the way you're positioning Amazon is as partly a solid business model with some sales that it does, its merchandising, as it were. But also, I'm sort of thinking of the way you're positioning it as a bundle of options.
Yeah.
That there's this core business plus there's this sort of bundles of options which some of these things can pay off. Only 10% of those bets are going to be successful, but they're going to be very successful. Is that the way you're imagining your pitch for Amazon?
That's mostly how I'm imagining my position, my pitch for Amazon. I think that Amazon as an e-commerce business, as a standalone e-commerce business, is a very good business.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon e-commerce business coupled with this Amazon ecosystem is a more successful business than anything we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And given computing, the advances in computing power, given Bezos, the executives, sort of radical but long-term vision, I believe that Amazon will outlast and out-innovate some of the different competitors in each vertical, but the idea that they can integrate these services to create a bundle experience for a customer is something that is very difficult to measure.
Right. So, I mean, it gets back to this issue we actually talked about in the core finance course, where there's this, and it's hard to imagine with Amazon how you do it, but talk about the value of the assets in place that they have. It's sort of what they already are doing. And then compare that to the market value that they have today and determine, sort of how much is embedded in the current value is future growth. And, your bet is, to make a case for buying it, that you'd be arguing that there's even more future growth in Amazon than is already embedded in the share price. Because there's quite a bit when the EV, enterprise value to EBITDA ratio is 33. You're really talking about a lot of embedded growth in that.
Yes, but I think it's imprecise embedded growth.
Yeah,
I think that there's a sort of fundamental breakdown between market participants and technologists,
right.
As we see with Silicon Valley and sort of Sand Hill Road and that type of culture, and I think Amazon has the culture or the story that a company that 20 years ago started as a bookstore, a
Right.
digital bookstore, has become a $350 billion market cap company that is leading in verticals in AI, autonomous vehicles, content generation, and also, by the way, the biggest e-commerce platform in the world.
Okay. Thank you.